In this new lesson about Unity, we're going to discover some of the templates. We're going to explore a little bit. We're going to start by using these templates so that we can learn and we can understand how everything works from the beginning. So these are beginners lessons. If you want to jump ahead, if you are a little bit more expert, you can do it. So what I'm going to do first here, I've just opened the hub, is go and check the release notes for a new version of Unity. Now this happens pretty often, so you need to know that this is currently in development, and it's always in development. So you need to stay updated, you need to check, and you can keep track of the various versions directly on the website. So we can either dismiss as we did in another video, or we can restart and use the new versions. So you can decide if you want. And usually once you updated this, when you create a new project, it's going to be in the new version. So you can check the installs as we saw in the instance section of the Unity Hub, and then we can just start. So let's go into projects, and we're going to learn a little bit using some tutorials from Unity. So I will start with another file this time. So we started exploring the Universal 2D, then we move forward to Universal 3D Scene, and then High Definition 3D. We will see that you have different types of qualities and performance. You need to balance everything. So the next one, we already saw the micro game. So the next one will be the Universal 3D Sample, which is going to show you the kind of a medium quality 3D and various scenes which have different qualities, and this is to understand the various possibilities you have with Unity. So we will find 4 environments that we can explore, and they will give us again some sort of example of the diversity or variation of scenes that we can do in Unity. It's pretty heavy. It's about 1 GB, a little less than 1 GB, so it's more heavy than the others we use, heavier. So we're going to click on download and wait for the template to be downloaded. So I just skip ahead a little bit, and now we are ready to go. So we have the template. We just need a name for this project. Let's call this my project sample. And let's also, I want to deactivate that and create a project. And again, since this is a big one, it's going to take time. So relax and wait for the project to be created. So we're going to use these templates and this assets, but we can also find more in the Unity Asset Store. We're going to talk many times of this Unity Asset Store. We will talk about this later on also, but just let's have a quick view while we're waiting for the project to create. So in the Asset Store, you can access the Asset Store directly from Google. You find a lot of assets that you can use in your games or applications or whatever you are creating, architecture, 3D games, 2D platforms games, etc., etc. So you find a lot of assets ready for you that you can just get and use. Now, some of these are for free and others are for sale, and you can also become a seller in the asset store if you want. If you want to produce and earn money by selling products, digital products like this. So we have audio, we have also artificial intelligence that is kind of coming everywhere, and also in game engine like Unity, and we have other stuff here. Now we have also essentials packages. For example, if you have a look here, you find this starter asset from Unity technology. Now this works also as a sample, as a template you can use to start to develop your third-person application or video game. So from here, from the asset store, you can get more scenes, more assets, more 3D files, audio, and everything else you find. Now we need a Unity ID to access the asset store. Otherwise, you cannot proceed. But this is just a quick look. I don't want to access right now. I just want to give you a quick look, quick overview of the asset store. And if you want know more, a little bit more about this scene, you can just open it up here and check the license agreement, the file size, the date of release, and you have some screenshots that will anticipate what you will find in the asset you're downloading. And in this case, the asset, it's an entire scene with all other assets inside. So it's a third person file that we could use later on. So if you want, you can also click directly into add to my asset. But again, you need to sign up for that. You need to log in if you already have sign up. Well, if you're using Unity, you will have already a Unity username and password. And all the information, also you'll find it down here. And also the package content, you can see you have a preview of what you will find in this package. So you see we have prefabs, which are like building blocks of the scene, and then you have some 3D third-person models, probably. FBX is going to be a 3D model, and then you have SFX, so you'll have sound effects, and you have video effects, and you have everything, all the assets, everything organized into folders nicely. Now also you can go into templates, so you find extra templates, more templates in here, and again, a lot of these are for sale. If you're interested in something, you can buy something here, and can save a lot of time if you are developing a game that is, similar to something that you see here. Otherwise, you can go here into the filters, and in the pricing, you can set free assets. You can only see the free assets available. So if you don't want to spend money at the moment, you can start with a lot of these. Now, a lot of these are from Unity technologies and Unity education, so they are free for the purpose of learning. So you can definitely download them and use them to learn how a game is supposed to look like in terms of 3D models, in terms of textures, etc., etc. So some games, they look more realistic, some they look more cartoonish. And you can search for publishers. So if I type Unity Education, this is all Unity Education templates, and you can filter by platforms, ratings, release date, etc., etc. You get the idea. So you can either buy or you can also sell assets. So if you click here, you can get started, create an account, start to upload your content. Again, could be 3D assets, could be sound effects or whatever, or entire scenes, entire templates that you can sell. So you can become a seller and earn money out of this. So it's a pretty interesting resource, the asset store, and we're going to come back here later on. I just want to give you a quick overview. Now, if you want to create great, outstanding models of characters, you can use, for example, ZBrush. If you want to create materials, textures that look pretty realistic, you may want to go for the Substance 3D software from Adobe, etc., etc. You have other options. You have Maxon, you have 3D Studio Max. You also have the open source Blender to create models and materials, etc. And you will find those courses in the channel if you're interested. Now, in the meanwhile, you can see we successfully finished to create the samples project here. So here we will find some example to discover the Universal Render Pipeline, or URP, that it's in Unity, so we can understand a little bit more, and more we're gonna understand further on. And you can go to the official forum if you want to ask questions or give feedbacks. And you can also check the tutorials, and we're going to see also how we can see the tutorials that can help you understand better Unity and how to use the various samples. So here we have on the right side a panel for the tutorials. So we can start from here with a presentation or graphical features or build that you can see is coming soon. So some of these are like under development. And as usual, we have the game window here. So if you press play, we can directly jump in and start to explore this first scenario here, this first scene. And we can start to see the first materials that's looking really good. It's not like super realistic, but it's starting to get more and more realistic if we compare it to other scenes. So this is up to you. You can do a game or an app on an interactive application that is serious, and you can do like presentation of your architectural project with Unity. You can explore it, you can show the clients or your professor that you can explore your architecture, you can move around, you can do product visualization, visualize materials, objects, etc. Now I just step into this room and I it kind of it got laggy, and because it's kind of uploading something, you can see it's uploading. So it kind of stops and it has some lags because it's pretty heavy. And you can see out there, this kind of a screen with a cartoonish video game. So by using this scene, and let's go into the scene panel. So we can see now the scene version. And you can see it's pretty overpopulated of assets and other stuff like lights and gizmos and like flying starships. And so there's really a lot of stuff in here that can get you really confused. But this is a matter of how we want to visualize the scene, and we can turn on and off stuff. So we already seen that we can work with the overlays here, these little menu bars that can help you to manage the view and the scene. But we will talk more about this. But you can see there is an extra button we never saw before until now, and this is to activate and deactivate some of these gizmos. So you may want to turn some of these off if the scene is getting overpopulated, or you can use only some of these. But this will help you to manage the objects in the scene, etc., etc. Now let's go back to the game mode. So in the game mode, again, I can uh, test the rendering. Here I can work. And if I click on this button, I can also turn everything off at once. So if you need to work and you need some more information about the scene and the assets in the scene, you can use this type of visualization. Otherwise, you can just turn it off. And this will help you again also to select and find objects that are invisible in game mode. So it's more for developers. In game mode, you will just test and see if everything is fine. And of course, you have the inspector, which we already talked about, that when you click on something, it will help you to discover more about that particular object. So let's go back into the game, and here the starship, you can see it's like outside, and then we have other rooms here. So we can explore more now the scenes. So let me go here in the tutorials here. So if I click, you can see it's going to start with the quality and performance. And if I want, I can also close everything down here. If I close, let me close these panels, close everything. So you can retrieve the panels, remember, from the window menu. And also here you have tutorials menu. So if you click on tutorial menus, you can click on show tutorials and you will be here now. And this is another environment. As you can see, it's a Japanese house and garden. And so you can go back here also to the splash screen, to the introduction screen. And now we can access, you can see here we have the different scenes. So we can go scene by scene, and you can see this is a project containing more scenes. So you can play everything. And if you play everything, it's going to start again from this main area. So you can either start from here and play the whole simulation, or you can just select one of these environments and investigate and explore that single environment. Now let me go back to the scene, and of course you can explore also the scene and the various scenes that you have right here. And if you expand here in the hierarchy, you can see that they all contain cameras and other stuff that are important to move around and to simulate. Now, before you're gonna create something like this, you need to study a lot. Now we can just explore and have a clue of what we can do. You can see I've stepped into this other room, and this is the other environment that I can preview, like with a kind of a screen, and it's kind of pixelated because you have quality that you can set up of the textures, that you can use the materials, the textures, and everything else. So This is set for pretty high quality, PC quality, not mobile quality. You can tell by the textures on the pavement, etc. And it's also pretty heavy. Again, stopping is kind of lagging a little bit. So there you go. So this is another room, and I can see some screens showing me a preview of the garden environment. So we can use other environments just to display them on screens. You can do a lot of stuff in Unity once you are expert. And these samples, again, they will give you a really good um, showcase. They will showcase how uh, good is Unity and how many things you can do. Now I just stepped again into the scene world, so where you can explore, and I just take a step backwards, so you can see now the whole scene, and it's composed by all the other environments, and you have these rooms. So the important thing is what you see in the simulation. Everything else, everything that is like outside and that we cannot see, we don't really care. Now I'm going to close again the extra panels. I want to make more space here to the view so we can explore a little bit more of this templates. So let's click here in presentation, and you can follow the tutorials here, and each environment has its own tutorial. So the first one is going to be like before you start. So before you start, you can set up the quality and the performance. Now this is important according to the machine that you're using. Perhaps you're using a PC that is not so strong, or maybe you're using some other device and you want to lower down the quality, otherwise it's too heavy. Or else you want more quality, you want to push the quality to the best, and in that case probably the performance will be affected by this. So it's always a game of balance between quality and performance, and it's also something that you need to test with your machine, with your computer. You need to understand how much you can push. Now, if we go to edit and go all the way down, we find some settings. So we have the preferences for the editor, and then we have also the project settings, which are specific for the project. And you can see we are already in the quality section. Otherwise, you need to select it from the list. And here is where you can change the quality that will affect the overall project and all the scenes and the various environments that are contained into this project. So what we can do here in quality is to make some tests. Now we already have some quality levels. You can also add quality levels. It's going to show you what you're using, and you can also apply it. And again, you can add more quality levels. And if we go down here, you also have you can see here that this is using the Windows standalone, and the current quality level is PC high. And you can change the rendering here, for example, using another pipeline, render pipeline, universal render pipeline asset. So also these settings are assets. So if you click here, you can change and use another render pipeline. So instead of using PC high, I can use like PC low or mobile low, and you click and you apply, and that's gonna change. It's gonna affect everything. I'm gonna show you this in just a minute. I just wanna go quick in the quality and performance settings. Now there are other settings that you can go through, but you know, this is just the beginning. So I just want to show you this, where you can balance perhaps your quality. Now, play mode, we already used this already a lot of times. So this is just telling us that we can also use not only the mouse and the keyboard, and using WASD keys and using the shift key to move faster, but also we can use gamepad or Xbox controller to play out the scene. So that's gonna be really interesting for gamers, and not interesting for architects probably, but you know, you can use other hardware. And then we can go forward with the next steps, or we can just go check the documentation for the URP or the official forums, etc., etc. Now if we go in the project panel, in the scene folder, in the asset folder, in the scene folder, we have the 4 environments that we can explore using this sample, using this template. You have the terminal, you have oasis, you have a garden, and then you have a cockpit. So you have a kind of interior, exterior situation, and also with different qualities. And you can change, again, the quality here. You can also change the resolution of the bitmap or the textures. So they will look less, well, more pixelated, less quality, but more performance. They're going to be faster and they will not cause lagging. Now let's explore these folders. So if I go, for example, in the garden folders, if I double click, I can see we have a bunch of folders containing all the different assets like 3D models, etc., etc. And if I double click here, I can open the scene. So now I can actually navigate only into the garden scene. So you can move around. You can see how many gizmos are in there. These are lights, and then we have probes and stuff like that. If I press play now, I will be able to explore this other scene. So you can start to see how a nice scene can be developed and built. Now this already looks a little bit more cartoonish than the terminal, which is the bigger scene. And so this is your choice. You can make your game or you can make your interactive application looking more like a cartoon or looking more realistic. It depends on you, depends on how you create the models, how you create the materials, how you create the textures, etc., etc. So it's all up to you. Unity will assembly everything together, will give you the possibility to add lining and also to make some adjustments and to choose the render you want to use. But then the rest, it's all a matter of the 3D models you're using and the texture you're using. So it's your choice, and you need to do that outside Unity. You need to build those, create those using ZBrush, 3ds Max, Blender, Substance, etc., Photoshop, etc. So before you start, again, you may want to take into consideration to learn also some of this software. Now let's also have a look to the Oasis scene. Also looks pretty nice. We can see that it's only important what we see. Then the things that we don't see, we don't really care. So this is probably the view we have in here. So we see a desert, and here we don't see anything because we have mountains, but that's fine. Also, if we have exterior scene, we need to try to keep our scenes constrained. We need to try to not to create too big scenes, otherwise they will be too heavy to render. And so this also looks like midway to realistic and cartoonish. And this is terminal, which looks pretty realistic, but I think we can do better. And then we have the last one is the cockpit scene. So let's double click and finish with this. And this looks really, really, let's say, simple and simplified. So kind of cartoonish, way cartoonish. So right now we are in kind of a spaceship that is moving, but it's again kind of really low poly, and probably because this is for intended for mobile or something like that. So let's change now the quality, and let's go to mobile low. So if you see nothing will really change, let's also decrease the resolution to the height of the resolution. And if we go in, you can see nothing is, it hasn't changed much because this was already a low poly and a low quality scene. So it doesn't make too much difference. But let's go back to the terminal, which probably is the best quality in these environments. So now if I see the ball, it's just lost a lot of quality. So if I go and see around and play this simulation, you can see we lost a lot of quality. If I go near the ball, you can see it's a lot pixelated. We can see a lot of aliasing effect and etc., etc. So again, let's go back to edit, quality set, project settings, quality settings, and now let's switch back to the PC high instead of mobile low, which should be the better and higher. And there you see. So we have definitely a higher quality. So we can stop for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to thank us, join the channel as a supporter and go and check our other courses in 3D model and 3D texturing, mapping, etc., creating materials. And so you'll find everything in the channel. Just type in the search bar what you're looking for. So thanks for watching again. See you in the next lesson.